Hey there, Spy fans. Thank you for your patience and your lending your strength to our spirit ball that is Smite Esports. And welcome to the finals of the qualifiers, week number 1 in Europe. My name is Bart. That's Scott. The teams are TRIG and Panthera. And, well, we are just giddy with excitement about this one. TRIG Esports looked exceptional in that game we just watched. Panthera repeatedly beat Dignitas pretty badly. And Dignitas, you saw what they did to the SunTouch LC squad there. Well, overall here, Scott, based on your expert knowledge of the European Smite scene, who do you think has the edge between these two squads?
I think as much as I want to say Panthera should have it, right? Like everything we've seen, like the pros are talking about Panthera, everyone is talking about Panthera. After watching TRIG, it feels like the show match was kind of like TRIG was just like, right? And now it's like, here's TRIG.
You're right.
I think TRIG wins if the game goes, as long as they have a strong early game, TRIG wins before 30 minutes in this game 1.
We'll definitely see. I mean, in that last game, it looked like they were a dog that hadn't been let outside in a month, and they took it off the leash, and the thing just ran out and gobbled everything up. TRIG Esports looked absolutely dominant. The first band's coming through. It's going to be Thor on the side of TRIG. Band out is Nemesis by Panthera. They will be represented by the red boxes. TRIG Esports is in blue, indicating who they have picked.
That's the ban.
Second ban is Athena now, being removed from the pool.
Get her
Final
out.
ban of Panthera. The pressure is on. Will they or will they not ban Shibalanke, who has been the most popular ban? It is not. It is Cirquet. And now TRIG is left with: do we take Shibalanke or Cupid?
Or Ao Guang.
I actually like the no ban thing going on.
Ao Guang.
So the reason that they're picking Ao Guang here is that Cupid and Shibalanke are both available, and ADCs so far in this weekend have been the most valuable picks to take. So they know that it's really unlikely TRIG takes both Shibalanke and Cupid. It creates a little bit of a farm priority problem. Like, who do you prioritize the farm on? And so they are able to easily draft the Ao Guang. To deal with that is Nuwa, which I love, right? Guaranteed damage out of the Nuwa will always reveal Ao Guang in the trickiest of situations. And now TRIG, highly likely to take Cupid and support here, would be my guess.
Yeah, Cupid and support would make sense. Now, the one thing that's going to be interesting is the rest of Panthera. Panthera has to worry about getting Nuwa activated very early on, and that could be a support Hercules. It could be a jungle, but most likely it's probably going to be a solo Hercules, and that's going to be a mid-run.
Strong boys. I mean, look at that. Ra and Hercules. So they take the Ao Guang, and then they immediately establish 2 frontliners to go with the Ao Guang, which is really important when you draft this god, that you control the line of battle. The line of scrimmage for you American football fans out there.
Come on, Bart.
And Ra and Hercules do that well. Plus, Ra is, I think, a pretty solid counterpick to Ao Guang. A lot of long-duration area-based damage in his 2 and his 3, which makes it easy to reveal the Ao Guang
He also
stealth.
Stomps on Nuwa early game.
He does. His clear is significantly better.
At level 6, he's going to be everywhere. Nuwa's going to be like, oh, chilling. Oh, Thanatos. Man.
Oh, Scott.
So this is going to be tough for Thanatos, just this matchup. Yes, his Scythe is going to do a bajillion damage to all of them, but he has to invade, and with the clear time of Ao Guang, he has to catch him at the right time, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, one thing Thanatos does do is deal with high HP pool characters fairly well in terms of that percentage execute. So he's decent enough against Hercules and Ra. It's a little bit difficult to play Thanatos versus those gods in particular, though, because of how deceptive their healing is. Well, I guess Ra is not that deceptive. It's a giant beam, but it ticks pretty fast.
Yeah,
Hercules, Hercules, his health pool will increase pretty quickly as well, so you can miss some of those hovering death executes pretty easily as the Thanatos.
And I mean, Hercules, despite him being huge, I mean, Driving Strike, he can kind of avoid as long as he's using the sound to his advantage. I mean, you're going to hear Thanatos go up, and you can look up in the sky, you can probably dodge it, but Osiris is gone as well, and they're going to get rid of Cupid, which is the smart play. That, to me, says Ullr's going to be picked for TRIG Esports, but Bastet's going to be picked up. We've seen a lot of the kitty cats here recently in the new meta from both NA and EU.
Where is this Thanatos going? Is Bastet's your solo lane here?
Yeah, Bastet's solo lane.
Okay, so it's going to be they're expecting Bastet versus Hercules, most likely, right?
Yeah.
But there it is, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was just about to say. They're like, TRIG could just go like Vamana or something that doesn't care about Bastet.
Yeah, this is a support Hercules.
And they just run that support Hercules. And at this rate, it could very well be Ao Guang solo, or nope, I was going to say duo lane, but nope, it's going to be the Apoyo, the Chicken Man.
To do that.
Will be going with Hercules to the duo lane. It's going to be interesting to see how they run this, right? Because Apollo's clear is pretty poor right now. Hercules clear is pretty good, but pretty mana heavy.
He's just looking to punish.
It's got to be a
Blanca.
bluestone pendant on Hercules for this lane to go well enough, and they're probably, in many ways, going to be splitting farm in this lane, more so than trying to make the Apollo a powerhouse in the early stages.
Oh,
they really
no,
need
no.
farm on Hercules.
What is this?
How do we get the last pick of the game and Poseidon is drafted?
Uh,
But how are these lanes run? This is one of the greediest drafts I think I've ever seen in Smite. It's 5 cores, no buts about it. There's nothing that even come close to a support.
So, Thanatos support.
Right. I mean, it's either that or it's Bastet support, you would expect. Or
Maybe Nuwa just in like level
clay
clay
minions?
soldiers. Ah.
My fingers are crossed that support's gonna, or I'm not support, I'm sorry. Production's gonna say in my ear that was a misclick and they actually drafted like a mirror.
Which makes insanely good sense based on how good Europe is with Ymir and just how good that god is in general. I think what happened here is TRIG just like completely messed with their mind, and it was just like, you know what? This is how we get them back.
They're like, oh yeah, no, we need the Poseidon to deal with the team fights, and they're like, oh god, who's supporting?
Yeah, Raffer's gonna support Thanatos.
Support Thanatos for Raffer. You thought he fell off early as a carry. Let's see how he does as a guardian, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thanatos, not known for his ability to stick in the middle of the fight in Hog 3, which is a lot of what a guardian does past about 20 minutes.
Hey, but he can really steal Fire Giants.
It's an uphill battle, ladies and gentlemen, but let's see how it shakes out. It's game number 1 in the best-of-3 finals. Your blue squad is TRIG Esports fighting out of the bottom of the minimap on the left side of your spectator UI. Zalia's in the soul lane as Vamana. Cuba Fred in the jungle as Aoguang. Lobster in the mid lane as Ra. In your duo lane is Trixtank and Funballer as the Hercules and Apollo, respectively. Their opponents today are wearing the red trunks fighting out of the top side of the minimap and the right side of your spectator UI. In the mid lane is Ninja Dimmy? No, I'm sorry. This is a solo lane Ninja Dimmy Poseidon. You have adapting in the jungle as Bastet.
The Poseidon
It's Nuwa mid lane optics. It's Raffer and Emilito as a dual lane. Extremely greedy Thanatos and Shivalanke.
Now, there is a fairly decent chance that Panthera is able to take this early game against TRIG, but as the game goes on, which is standard versus Thanatos, TRIG should come out on top, but Panthera could catch enough momentum early on to where they can punish. I mean, you're going to have a blue buff here on Ninja Dimmy, so Poseidon is going to be able to clear all day long.
I mean, the only way that this early game goes well for Panthera is that on TRIG, someone dies in the dual lane going, really? Like, that's how that works? You know, like somehow they didn't know that, like, if you ate, like, the Shibalanke darts plus the Death Scythe plus the Silence, you just die.
Yeah.
You know, like, no one, you know, like, unless that's the case, I just don't see them winning this lane. It's just so greedy from Panthera. Like, sure, you're fighting into a greedy Hercules Apollo lane, and sure, on paper, these gods have a lot of early game pressure, but, like, how does this work past, like, right now?
Well,
right? Like, level 3, level 4, like, they have the big advantage, don't get me wrong. Funballer and Trixtank a bit behind, given the early pressure Thanatos can get in terms of taking camps, but is that it? Is it just snowball?
If Trix gets a pull on Raffer,
oh, yeah,
and Raffer catches a driving strike and is so beautiful to the face, like, what does he do? But he does have the silence, which is going to help.
Oh, here we go. We're going to get our first pull and push of the game. Shibalanke does have the Rising Jaguar, and Raffer's going to get a free shot at a scythe there. Not going to find it, though. Rotations coming out. Bastet went deep there looking for a pickup on that buff, but Aoguang and Ra follow suit, and they're there, but adapting going to get some free XP leech from the mid lane. Cuba Fred hasn't reared his head yet on the Aoguang, and he has quite a bit of kill potential. Adapting, spamming that lane out to try to get optics back here before the 3-minute camps come up. And Optics, a few lazy backs here, continues to trying to go. Gets a nice double stun, but not a lot of magic power behind it just yet.
Now, this lane, Raffer's got to be careful. I mean, you can see Trixtank. He's
playing it great, though.
Yeah, he is.
It's working.
Like, Trixtank, you can just tell, like, by where Hercules is looking, he's looking directly at Raffer. He wants that pull.
He's just sitting there licking his lips like, it's going to happen eventually.
Lobster could be in a little bit of trouble here, depending on how Adapting does it. But look at that heal.
Yeah, dude.
Ra is so safe. And with the clear that's very weak from Optics early on, he's safe to do this.
Funballer might eat a scythe here. No, once again, splitting the uprights is Raffer. And, well, as we so often say, you live and you die by the Death Scythe on Thanatos, and there hasn't been a lot of success out of Raffer yet. He's going to try to make his rotation towards the mid lane as the mid camps come up. At 3 minutes, here comes the Hercules as well. Both supports going there. Right side, so far uncontested. Poseidon rotating from Panthera. Aoguang already there. First camp does go to the red team. Right side camp is going to go to the blue team, so they split. that first spawn, but now it's Raffer toe-to-toe with Trixtank, who can just smack him around a bit. But Trix needs to be a little bit careful, to be honest here. Raffer does have an ultimate available. Snipe coming through. Not gonna hit. Raffer realizes it's time to get on out of there. Alquang blinks forward. He can't re-engage. Too high HP. First ultimate from Thanatos. Not getting much.
The idea was there. You could see Lobster was kind of lined up waiting for it throughout that entire time. He was like, I swear, if he gets driving strike, I'm going to get this kill. But he missed. They didn't have the damage anyways, even if Searing Pain hit. It would have been close to killing him, but he probably would have gotten out of there. And he actually goes into the back and splits the back harpies there with Bastet, so he's going to get a little bit of XP as well.
If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, it is a best-of-3 matchup here in the finals of Week 1 of the Smite Pro League qualifier. It's TRIG Esports versus Panthera. We're about 4 minutes into this one. It's ever so slightly in favor of TRIG Esports at this point in the game, although it's pretty negligible, and it could all change right here as the Shibalanke ultimate comes out. Fred trying to do his damage, but they both get stunned out by that Shibalanke ultimate. The cats are deployed as well from adapting. Is it going to be enough? Nua ultimate is here as well. Fred fighting for his life, blinking forward, and he's going to have those cats de-aggro and go into Hercules. They can clean up the remaining cat on the other side, and in the meantime, Zalia barely living through a crack in there, picks up a kill on a Ninja Dimmy, and it's all come up spades for TRIG Esports. They get the first blood and take the first real advantage of this game.
Now, Poseidon should have been expecting that, just because when you hit tab, you realize that Azalea started off with Heavy Hammer. Heavy Hammer Vamana basically indicates, hi, I am going to do as much damage to you as possible early on. I'm going to make sure you're punished. And so Poseidon should have been playing a little bit more passive. He doesn't really have kill potential until his second level of his ultimate. He's got to have something.
Well, early game, duo lane. We'll take a look in there, check in with the TRIG and Panthera lineups. On the side of Panthera, you have this Shibalanke sitting at level 7, rank 2 Transcendence, and fairly healthy in the lane.
Oh, yeah.
But nope, let's take a look on the right side now. Is it Zalia? He gets pressured a bit, but Adapting's just really here to help clear out the wave and push back the equilibrium.
Yep.
But back to the duo lane here. It's Apollo going into that Shibalanke. Apollo's gone for the Devo's gloves, has them done, has kept up in levels. Thanatos sitting at level 6, keeping par with Hercules, doing a good enough job, at least for the early game. No deaths in their side, and a ponderously paced game, but that's, I don't think, exactly what you want if you're a Thanatos carrying team. He does need a lot of kills early to really make an impact later on, especially in comparison to this Hercules that scales exceptionally well without items. Raffer, how's he going to play this mid-game?
I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen support Raffer, but Driving Strike's going to hit. Alquang's going to be there. That's a kill. Rest in peace, Emilizi. He is in dragon form. He might actually be waiting. He comes crashing down, Raffer is, and Alquang goes actually on optics, but he gets out of there because Bastet's there as well.
Yeah, Raffer not able to close the distance for that silence and no real follow-up coming fast. That's going to rotate back towards the mid lane and try to make a play as the mid camps come back up here in about 7 to 8 seconds, depending on when they were taken. But no, looks like these camps are both taken a bit late, so maybe not till about the 13 or 14 second mark that they come up. Yeah, right at 12 there. Fred doing a bit of damage to Adapting. Oh, the snipe from Lobster right on mark. Fred doesn't have an ultimate, but it doesn't matter because there's another beam from Lobster on the backside. Raffer's trying to get a last hit onto Hercules, but just not enough.
How is he alive?
No damage items. Optics to fall as well as he's reined in by Lobster and Fred. Oh, and the Dragons are back up. Emilito can't stay too long. The damage is going to stack up quickly.
Oh,
Lobster
beautiful.
trying to make a move forward. They're kiting around the in-hands. There is the... Oh, the plays coming through from Ninja Dimmy. He gets the double kill in the rotation, and it's an absolute bloodbath on the left side of the mid lane.
It's so worth.
Game number 1.
Meanwhile, Hercules is over there like, oh, thank you for both mid-harpies. He loses about half his health. Driving Strike into everything did fine. Taking a look at the stats there, you saw a 3,000 XP difference between these two teams. And for a second there, it was looking like TRIG Esports was going to do exactly what they did to London Conspiracy to Panthera, but luckily Poseidon, Ninja Dimmy with a huge rotation all the way from the solo lane to really commit on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he followed. He followed right on over there. Zalia,
oh, he followed.
No, not about it. But Lobster, I mean, just the god. I mean, what an incredible set of plays there from that Rob.
Look at the
positioning on his Searing Pain, positioning on his beam
Celestial
of light.
Beam, yeah.
It just absolute.
Look how selfless he is as well. He's deciding to go into CDR boots, and he realizes that his team is going to be okay with or without his power. So he's going to go into Lotus Crown.
Oh my god!
And just help everyone.
I didn't even
out.
think about it. It makes the healing better because everyone's under protection.
And the big thing it changes is that you're allowed to be aggressive with your heal.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense to put it down aggressively in the fights and get something out of the damage as well. What if he pairs this with like a Gem of Isolation as well, just for that aggressive healing positioning, big slow, big AoE defense buff to anybody that walks into it from his team. That's some dirty stuff.
Well, Cubo goes for the poke, being very aggressive. dodges the blind at least, Lobster's not even going to waste a 1 on him. He's just going to be like, yeah, just hang out. Ra, you know, no matter what, it always seems like Ra like is forgotten about because of like a lot of hype around Giannis and Agni, and then he gets picked, and everyone's like, oh God,
yeah,
I hate this god.
Yeah, it's really, you know, I think the two gods that I have the least fun when they're flavor of the month are Ra and Odin, just because of how good they are at like just the utility, the utility like contributing to wins. Hades is there as well. Hades finds wins a lot.
I hate
well.
Hades. I absolutely loathe going against Hades.
I get stomped on by Odin. Just the extra vision, especially old Odin.
I wasn't around for old Odin.
Well, yeah, he was strong.
Yeah.
He had his ups and downs.
He should be strong.
He is strong.
He's the god of everything.
He's strong. Bird bomb.
Bird bomb. Oh yeah.
Bird bomb, dude.
Bird bomb. Bird bomb OP. Thanatos might be just clearing out wards. Thought it was a jungler. So used to seeing the icon. I was like, might be going into hovering death here, but decided against it there. So it's going to be really, really hard. I mean, you can see the power boots online. He's at 3,900 gold. There's no Midas boots anymore, so I really don't know how he gets involved in this game at all.
There's an Apollo ultimate being used. They're going to try to burst Raffer down. Not going to get it in time. He's still in the air. Comes crashing down onto Emelito. Fred. Oh, there's a Shiba-like ultimate coming out. Those are those triple domes. You see the boulder on the mark, but Funballer gets credit. That's a big kill for the Apollo. He has a tough time in the early game, but Funball really showing us his god is still worthy of a pick here in competitive play. The repositioning coming into a big factor in that fight. He's going to barely make it out as adapting comes in. The only one that needs to really be worried here is the Alquang. He leaps forward, putting the damage still out. He's going to go down, uses the ultimate on adapting. The Kitties have not found that kill yet. Running away is Cuba. And that's not on the mark, and he gets the in-hand for the kill onto Raffer as well. There's a surrender vote out from Panthera. Why did you pick Thanatos as your support?
Why are you going against... Yeah, that's
the question.
I was gonna make a second sideline story, and I was like, no, that's it.
I mean, well, if they're trying to play. It's a super greedy, right? You know, to me, it seems like they kind of took the mindset of like, hey, playing two bruisers is really effective in the dual lane. What if we just played super greedy, right? What if we got Shibalanke and just played an assassin, right? If two bruisers work, just kind of controlling the lane as a kill lane, maybe it'll work like this as well. Obviously, big silence and slow setups for Thanatos, and if they would have hit all their death sides, maybe it goes differently. But it's a tough position.
Oh, no, he's not. So Lotus Crown done. Getting ready to probably go into Book of Thought. There's no reason at all for him to get Soul Reaver. That just doesn't apply at all to Panthera. They're just looking to crush through him. So Book of Thoughts will be next, and if you're wondering what Al Guang's going to do, the Wing Blade's pretty much standard, and then he's going to go Telkines into Demonic Grip. You go both rings.
You know, I was playing Al Guang the other day, and it's funny that the items that this character builds are like really apropos to who he is, right? Like, you know, a lot of characters is like, oh, he's building this giant mace on Bastet. You know, that doesn't make a lot of sense in Jotun's Wrath.
Yeah.
Al Guang, a sword and 2 rings, pretty appropriate for his the regal god of the winds that he is.
Yeah. He likes rings, man. He likes jewelry.
I'm with it. He throws on some jewelry, gets his 6th sword out. That makes
he's got that sword that only he can pull out of the stone. Yeah.
That's what I mean. He's got the wing blade. He's got the 2 rings. He's sitting pretty.
I'm with it.
Yeah, dude.
You know who does work as a support, though, is actually Hercules. With Bluestone Pendant mixed with everything, like it actually is okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's
this is the play.
Use new ultimate as well. It's for the right side of the map here, where it's Zalia in the front line. Cuba Fred quite low as well. And finally, Panthera looks like this team comp makes some sense here as it combined for a 3-man kill pretty easily. Shibalank Ultimate doing a lot there. And there's Raffer with the dunk as well. Nicely played by them. They take control of the map there with a double kill on 2 very, very important targets. The Alquang and the Vamana, perhaps the 2 most important targets to take down on the map. So Panthera showing signs of life here as that engagement is really great for them.
He just got hit with the Scythe as well as Shiny Metal. Lobster's health is just depleted. And this was big. Unfortunately, there is no Gold Fury. If that was up, if TRIG didn't take that before, I mean, they would have a free Gold Fury.
And Divine Ruin coming up on Poseidon as well is it was pretty important in that last and the next set of engagements, rather, I should say. Stopping that Ra healing, stopping the Hercules healing. It's a very heal-centric comp, especially Zalia's.
Zalia's Vamana, right?
Yeah, it's a good all-around item, and it's easy to build into. That's the one thing with the triple healing comp, where one of them is your solo laner, and that's why the Poseidon is working here, because they looked at it and said, you know, we need good anti-heal carrier, and that's kind of coming to light now. Maybe they had the Thanatos in the support role the whole time. That's a little strange, but the Poseidon is a targeted counter pick here just to pick up that Divine Ruin.
I'm very interested to see what Poseidon does as well. because if he goes Warlock Sash, he's basically lane committed for at least 8 minutes to get some stacks. That could be a Gem of Isolation, though. He might have a good enough amount of power to where he can kind of just lock him down this way and kind of help out his team that way. Lining up for easy Scythe and easy Cats and plus Shiny Metal plus Clay Soldiers. It could be the synergy he's looking for. But I think he's going to value health over just...
I love Gem of Isolation. I think the Gem of Isolation would be picked up a lot more if it wasn't in the same tree as the Warlock Sash, because you get halfway through it and you're just like, Warlock Sash. I'm going to build that instead. But it is excellent. They're going to try to burst down the Thanatos here, and they will indeed. QFred getting credit for that kill, but Trickstake's going to fall as well as the rest of Panthera comes crashing in. Speaking of crashing in, it's an Apollo in the back lines. Nua ultimate already expended. She's taking a lot of damage, and there's the num. The dragon comes up and takes down Optics. They can re-engage if they want. It's going to be a little tricky, but in goes QFred. He has no fear. The Kraken comes out as well, but he's in the back lines. Adapting getting credit for that kill onto Lobster without their Ra. Not sure if they want to continue fighting, but here comes the Vamana. The damage from the damage jungler as well. It's big, and QFred finds credit for 3 kills in that lane, in that engagement.
That's 4 dead. This is the tier 2.
Yeah.
This is a tier 2, no doubt in my mind. They're just going to shove straight through this. That is going to be 2,000 gold rewarded after the tier 1 and the tier 2 get taken, unless they really are going to let Raffer kind of... Okay, so level 10 Thanatos is able to deter them from it.
And he's going to be building some kind of sovereignty on that Thanatos, and it's just... It's not going to be enough.
There's
it's simply not going to be enough.
He'd be better off building a Brawler's beat stick.
It's like we talked about, right? It's like, okay, Ao Kwong needs a team built around him that controls where the fights happen and the pace of the fights, the kind of the line of scrimmage, if you will. They have Vamana and Hercules on the front line, Ra kind of in line 1.5 just off of it, and then Apollo's are raining damage from behind, and the Ao Kwong can move in and out as the big frontliners dictate the pace of the fight. On the side of Panthera, their tankiest character is going to be a Thanatos. Really, their tankiest character is going to be the Poseidon if he gets a Warlock Sash.
Yeah, it's going to be Poseidon.
And then the Thanatos. And it kind of lets TRIG do exactly what they want to do to dictate these fights, which is control it, get the big ultimates out of the way, and then have Ao Kwong and Apollo rotate in and absolutely destroy everybody. And it's really worked quite well for them so far.
Well, what's scary for them is that they don't really have an answer for Xaylia when he goes into Big Baby form. Like, in a team fight, if Xaylia rotates, well, hold the thought here. Shablanque ult's coming out, adapting forced all the way out, former Tribes player. No follow-up engagement here. There is going to be a battle going on the side. Boulder comes out. Raffer's going to Aegis. Raffer's going to go down the Fun Baller, and it's not done yet, as it looks like Bastette's going to be on the backside. The snipe's going to hit, and oh my god, driving strike. That was textbook.
Fighting into the heal from Ra. A little tough. Vamana, he's going to force to use his ultimate here. Damage from Shablanque, not quite enough. They go back for the Gold Fury, but yeah.
And an extra 20 protections.
Yeah, that just comes down to them fighting into the Lotus Crown Ra heal for the second fight in a row. They just kind of misjudge how effective that is, and well, they also got scooped up by the Okie-doke in adapting. Kraken comes out off the mark though, and up you go from the Ao Kwong. Damage gonna come through. He's also forced to fight into that Ra heal, trying to get away as Poseidon, but you have a blinking carry as well as Apollo. Down he goes as well.
Lotus Crown is so perfect on Ra.
Yeah,
I mean, that synergy is fantastic. You're looking at guaranteed almost objectives, like secure. You're getting an extra 20 protections with physical and magical, and on top of that, you're healing up. Like, how do you respond to that?
Heart Ward picked up from the Vamana as well, so the physical protection aura coming out from him in addition to bolstering his magic defenses. Emilito trying to man fight here versus Lobster. The ultimate off the mark. Optics, can he find the hit? The protection's really helping him out right now, but the clay minions come out. That's enough to kill off Lobster, and I don't think Xaylia can cover this ground. It's going to be a little tough. No, he gets the slow on both sides, rooted out. The Shining Metal should be coming back up shortly, but now it's Bastet that's going to try to push him out, and that is going to be the end of that one.
Well, Panthera holds. They're holding right now. They're doing everything they can to kind of just hold through everything, and it's not looking bad for him.
Yeah, and well, you can see the Bastet is still moving in here. We're about 17. Hey there, guys. Sorry about that delay. We'll be coming back into the game here in just a moment. But about 17 minutes into this one, and all things told, it's not looking so great for the boys of Panthera. The Thanatos support on Raffer, not really paying dividends yet.
No. You can kind of see like what it could possibly do, but overall, there's a reason it's not the standard in the meta. It's just not as good as any other support or even any warrior support. It's like, oh, we're going to cheese the lane here. I'm going to hit you with the Death Scythe, and oh my god, there's half your health, right? But that wasn't the case. And plus, when you go against a Hercules with mitigate wounds, he can see it and pop 3 and whatever.
Right, yeah. I mean, you have to get that silent, like, we don't really get to see if this has any viability. Obviously, it does. They wouldn't have drafted it. It must be working for them in scrims or ranked or what have you, but didn't hit any death size. And that's pretty much the end of it for Thanatos. And now he's a flimsy AoE silencing pseudo support, building tank items. Not going to have much damage output. It's going to be a really tough game for him to transition into anything useful in the later stages of this game.
Yeah, I don't know. They have to get him involved in like the next 8 minutes, or else this is just going to be curtains. Like you're going to have this late game, mid to late game based team comp coming out of TRIG Esports that's just going to start to take off at this point. I mean, Zelia on Vamana, it's only
already
it's a
big
ticking
impact.
time bomb. He's already got Executioner online. He's just going to continue to just keep smashing. And surprisingly enough, he hasn't been really tanky in the team fights as we saw. But he had that Heartward Amulet.
He just finished it.
So it's like 300 health, 60 protections. How am I going to
die? He's just finished off that item. It's allowed him to group with that big aura. It's going to make Thanatos even less effective going into that physical protection aura, right? I mean, it's not going to be the easiest set of circumstances for Panthera. Trig looking like they're ready to take game one, and really they don't look like they're losing this finals. I mean, as far as this game's gone, granted there's a Thanatos in it, and the's been kind of shades of big plays from Panthera, but Trig is looking like they are playing right at the top of the game.
So let me ask you a question, Bart. How impressed are you with the Lotus Crown on Raw?
Well, I mean, am I impressed that Lobster bought the item? No, I don't think so. I mean, am I impressed with what it's doing?
Of it.
It's definitely putting in work. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Like you said, maybe we'll start seeing the aggressive Raw heals, which I would have been probably more impressed by. What's kind of keeping me back from being like, oh my god, amazing, is that it's still that Panthera is just fighting into defensive Raw heals, which isn't going to work anyway.
Never.
Forget the plus 20 protections, right? I mean, and the bonus healing. That's all well and good, but if you're fighting into defensive Raw heals outside of the Gold Fury, for example, like you're not going to win that fight. So it is definitely working. I can tell you that much.
My theory behind it is like you get Fire Giant or you take Gold Fury, and when you're sieging on the towers, you're dropping it on your melees who are just sitting there right at the tower. So any damage that happens, they're just going to be mitigating everything anyway. Yeah. So it makes your siege just stronger, which is what I'm hoping to see, but I haven't seen it yet.
Well, yeah, they haven't really started the siege yet. They've taken the Gold Fury, right? We just had a couple of team fights. We're only about 17 minutes in. It's about time probably for the tower bushes to start coming out. But with the Nuwa on the side of Panthera, they have pretty solid anti-push. But
they do.
In the same respect, it's a Raw. He can push quite quickly. So that seems to be what this game's going to come down to is it's so hard to say that, though, because it's a Thanatos support, right? Like, can they hold out long enough for the team to come online? But one of your gods is just going to be completely absent. But let's head back into the game.
What can you even do as a Thanatos support? Like, what are you silencing right now?
Right.
Like, if this was, like, going against a Thor and you just wanted to silence, sure. I can get on that board, but
Only at level 12, falling behind the Hercules a bit already, and pretty absent in terms of items is your Thanatos here so far. Really a good opportunity to just group and take some objectives here for TRIG Esports. 17 kills to 7 as we approach 18 minutes marks. It's the 18-minute mark, I'm sorry. It is 0-0 in terms of games, but game one trending certainly in favor of the boys in blue.
That might be an Ichable coming out here on Azalea as well on the Vamana, which is something we haven't seen. I mean, it's treated as a tier 2 item, and we've seen supports. We've seen hunters get it, and sometimes junglers, but never on a tanky warrior. I mean, it's only going to help in big baby form.
Right. Oh, I was right. It was a gem of isolation.
You weren't right.
I was right.
I asked the question.
Nope, but I was right about it.
You basically just go, oh, well, I really like gem of isolation.
Yeah, I was right. It's a great item.
All you did was just say you liked it.
That's enough sometimes, Scott. This will forever go down in the history books as a win for me. It's a W in the casting column for old Bart.
Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. It looks like Al Guang steering away from the traditional build of going right into Demonic Grip after Telkines. He's going to look to go probably into our Magi's Blessing. On the opposite side, though, Bastet, same thing as before, a very late Transcendence, which seems to be kind of the standard for all this character.
Yeah, it's the preferred build, certainly. Driving Strike coming through. Tricksake, no, he dies to Optics. Thanatos, no kill for you, no experience. He does go down on to the next best target, which is going to be the Ra, but they don't have enough to burst him down. Apollo comes crashing in. It's Optics in a lot of trouble now, and they don't have their new no magic damage burst available anymore, and they still have to deal with Baby, who continually keeps on getting healed back up and getting more and more protections out of that Ra Lotus Crown, adapting the one he's going to be going for here, and he gets it. The Frostbound Hammer is going to be doing a lot, slowing down Raffer. The second slow comes through, the knock-up as well, but not tanky enough yet as Azalea to dive the tower. Heartward Amulet providing mostly magical protection, not so much physical, and away he goes.
I think he was really afraid of what Emilito could bring. Xbalanque, not only is it really fast, but he also does a lot of damage. I mean, you're taking a look, you can see Transcendence into Ninja into Aussie, so he's going to have a good amount of power as well as lifesteal. Zelia can't really mess with that.
Xbalanque is ready to fight.
Yeah, he's at the point where he's like, okay, I'm good. But he has no stacks on his passive.
Poseidon's doing okay as well, right? Yeah, no stacks on the passive. That's a good thing to point out at 0-5.
That's nice.
He has the right items now, but he doesn't have, the snowball that Xbalanque normally brings. Poseidon's looking fairly healthy and pretty decent, but the rest of the team, they're going to have a hard time team fighting here. TRIG Esports can exert their will now. You can see the tier 2 on the left side already getting fairly low as Funballer had a lot of opportunity to push there and rotate late into that fight with the Apollo ultimate.
Just like yesterday with Allied kind of like casually went like 11-0, like very quietly. We're seeing the same thing coming out from Apollo, aka Funballer. Like he's 5-0, he's got 5 assists, he's been a part of 10 team fights out of 19. Like he's been involved, but like I haven't left it being like, oh yeah, Apollo's crushing it. It's just like consistent kills.
Yeah,
which is odd.
It's just being played well.
Yeah.
I think is what it comes down to. Funballer, the positioning has been nice. He's getting the rotations at the right time to set up kills for his team. Even with the nerfs that Apollo sustained, still very capable as a late rotator and lane split pusher. Just not so much of a lane dominator anymore. Still extremely elusive and evasive in the fights as well. And putting that to good use is Funballer. Sitting at level 19, he's obviously used his ultimate quite a bit to spread the map. And yeah, it's going to be an Odysseus bow out of Vamana. Zelia really favoring this item a lot.
Yeah. So the change to Odysseus bow is really that every 4th auto attack is going to proc Chain Lightning that's going to go through, and this really helps with wave clear. But it also is going to help with his attack speed as well as give him a little bit of power, I think. I'm not completely sure as to what the new changes were, but I know that 4th proc is going to really, really help, and he's going to be in the action, and that's going to proc at Big Baby too.
Yeah, you think about how Vamana wants to fight in the team fights. It's generally chasing someone down, isolating them from the fight, which doesn't seem to have a great synergy with the Odysseus bow outright, but it's extended in handing. So he's going to get likely 2 procs of guaranteed magic damage, guaranteed additional bonus damage with this Odysseus bow. So it makes some sense in that, and especially makes it even harder for them to fight him with more than one player, as just the damage is going to stack up faster and faster.
So Sentry Ward down on Fire Giant. Right now, Panthera has no vision over it. Panthera has the vision over it. TRIG doesn't, but they're going for the engagement. The raw heal goes down, trying to help out as best he can. He's going to force him out, but no follow-up.
Yeah, more often than not, these hovering deaths are being used to escape. As Thanatos,
then engage.
Well, I guess it's at this point, no one's surprised that Thanatos isn't doing well. We've got to warn that one out. Obviously, he's sitting at level 14.
Yeah, but that's Thanatos.
But yeah, but like what kind of can they do here? Their tank has been pushed out of the fight, and there's no other Hog Fury available. That's a free Gold Fury. Fire Giant on the side of TRIG Esports. They may get Lobster in return here. Aegis used. New ultimate going to go into that. No heal available for him. Lotus Crowd doing a lot of work though, and there's the heal, keeping Lobster up, fighting in his optics.
Look at him!
Heal continuing to push out dividends now, as it's adapting, and the Chain Lightning actually factoring in there, starting to burn down Raffer faster and faster. TRIG's tank not going to die out here. Hercules just too tanky. Surrender vote is going to go through. In fact, there, Panthera, after losing that Fire Giant, and the subsequent fight does go down there. And well, game 1 goes convincingly to TRIG Esports there.
Yeah, there was no way that the transition into the late game was going to happen very well for Panthera. I think that was kind of like, if we steal this Fire Giant, we can get it. Because after all, I mean, getting top 2 in this qualifier pretty much secures you into like the third week.
Yeah,
it's really safe to say that. So there's not as much pressure on them, but obviously they still want the 1 seed, so it's like officially locked.
Yeah.
But it's a hard transition for them to go into the late game, especially with that team.
Well, we'll see if they can, really get things together here, is the big question,
That's the big question.
After that loss, I mean, there was a surrender that happened really early in that game that didn't go through, so you could tell they were already kind of like getting discouraged by the way the game was going. Is this now ultimate surrender and loss? Is it just going to be too much in their heads going into game number 2, or can Panthera rally back? That's the big question, guys. We'll see as we move into game number 2 in this best of 3 in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Panthera versus TRIG, game number 2.